Welcome back to another episode of On the Rocks here on the Filmaholic channel. This is our unfiltered episode that we do have every Wednesday where we take a topic and discuss it, see where it goes. And this week, the topic is the best years in cinema. So we're looking at each year and which ones are the best throughout pretty much all time. So Ethan, do you want to begin, kick us off with this conversation?
Yeah, all right. So the first one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 10 years on my list.
I have a bunch here, a little bit more than you do, I think. But I just went through. I tried to go through each decade and look at what films I had rated the highest.
Yeah.
So years that had the most 5 stars films, in my opinion. And then looking at that and then kind of factoring in 4.5s too, but mainly the 5 stars. So, I mean, ultimately, I feel like this is the case for both of us. We're going to have later years in here more than we have a lot of older stuff because we've seen more of those movies than we have of later. You know, we may look back and do the same topic in 5 years, and we've seen a bunch of other films from 1968 or something.
Yeah.
Because I was looking and there's a lot of, there's a lot of films in the late 60s that could have put one of those years on here. But honestly, the year that I have on here that's the oldest, and that is barely on the list, and that's 1976. That I just want to throw out there, not discuss it too much, but I do have 76 on there because we had films such as Rocky, Taxi Driver, and All the President's Men. All really good films, in my opinion. So that came out in 1976. So that's the furthest back that I have on here.
Furthest back I have is 1982.
Which is the next year I have.
I've got The Thing, Blade Runner, and I don't. That's the thing. I don't know. Blade Runner in '82. If you would consider, I don't know if you consider Blade Runner a fantastic movie or not.
I would consider it a fantastic movie.
Well, it's because we've seen the final cut though. Would you consider the 1982 version? That's my thing.
That is questionable because I've never seen the version that came out in theaters.
I've got it over here, but I haven't watched it yet.
I have it, but I don't. I think that you have to go special features or something to watch it on the Blu-ray.
Well, I've got all 3 copies in one. But that's what I don't know. I got it on the list because I don't think anybody's watching the original Blade Runner.
No.
And they're considering this list. But I got E.T., Gandhi, First Blood, Rocky 3.
And I would throw in there as well King of Comedy and Poltergeist. Both came out that year as well.
Yeah, I'll throw in King of Comedy.
It's good.
That's all I did with mine. I went through years that I thought I wanted to talk about and just put all the movies that I felt should be mentioned and different reasons. So I'm trying to go in order of the oldest to newest. And I think my next one, that was 82. The next one is 1994.
Holy shit, you did a big time jump. I got a lot in the 80s I want to talk about here.
Okay, go ahead.
The next one I have is 85, but not as much as 82, but you do have some good ones in there that I liked. You got Back to the Future, came out in 85. You got your favorite, The Breakfast Club. You got Fletch. You got The Goonies. You got Rocky 4. So a lot of several iconic films came out this year. And then also the next one after that, the next 2 years after that, which I have, is 1987 and 1989. To me, these are the 2 best years in film of the 1980s, with 82 being the 3rd best. But 87, you had Lethal Weapon, which I'm a big fan of, especially after just rewatching it. Excellent. You got Predator, iconic. You got Dirty Dancing, which for some reason you're missing out on that movie, sleeping on it. It's great. You got Wall Street. You got Beverly Hills Cop 2. You got one of the best, if not the best, of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Dream Warriors. And you got another film that is not great, but it's fun, Over the Top.
Yeah, and that's what like I had a hard time with my list. I put as far as I tried to do best years, and like you said, a lot of the ones that I think you're going to mention have more iconic movies.
Right.
So that's what I had a hard time like differentiating the two. Um, because there would be a few years on here, like if we were talking about just iconic movies, I'm like, yeah, this is getting on
Well,
there.
see, that's another thing too, and that's why I wanted to make it more broad, really, with my selections. Because if I'm doing just best, that's a lot of movies that I haven't seen. I need to watch. Like if you go back to the 1980s and look at like on Wikipedia or whatever, and look at the Oscars, movies that were nominated for Oscars, probably in the 80s, I probably have not seen the majority of those movies. Aside from like Gandhi, which I have seen,
E.T. should have won.
E.T. I don't know a lot of these movies in the 80s that I mentioned that are iconic or films that I've seen in the 80s that have been nominated for Oscars.
And that's the only thing. I only put down movies that I have seen.
Right. I don't have any on this list that I haven't seen. That's why I like mainly for the later years mainly went with stuff that was iconic. When we get to the more modern day, there's a lot of Oscar caliber movies because that's more what I'm drawn to now when I watch movies like that are coming out. But
yeah.
And then the next year after that, the final year in the 80s that I have is 1989. This year you have Christmas Vacation, Batman, Roadhouse, Lethal Weapon 2.
That deserves that year for itself.
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Back to the Future Part 2, which is the best in that franchise. All came out in 1989 and ending the 80s in a great way for cinema.
What is your first one in the 90s?
1994, which I believe you have as well, right?
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Not that there wasn't good movies in the early 90s. There was, but I don't know. Like looking at them, there wasn't anything like really jumped out at me like for those years. When I look back at those films, they started getting better as they went on, especially with 1994. I mean, the movies that I had listed down here for 94 include Speed, Dumb and Dumber, The Lion King, Forrest Gump, and obviously Pulp Fiction. Those are just movies I've seen, but you also had Shawshank Redemption that year.
Yeah, I have that. I've got Leon the Professional. I have The Crow, and I have Clerks.
Forgot about Clerks. Yeah, you do have that.
But yeah, this is I don't know. It's tough in the 90s. Like I would argue this would be the best year of the 90s overall.
Potentially.
Maybe you would or not. It's just got three heavy hitters: the Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, and Shawshank.
If we had did this list after if we did this subject after we did our top 10 films of the 90s, and because I'm going doing that now, and I'm like starting to do that and like looking back at 90s films and rewatching some, it might would change because there's a lot of films I know in 97 and 98 and even 99 I need to revisit because those years were big, and that's the next year that I have in here, which is that I put down, which I mean, well, first I want to mention 97. 97 is a good year. I mean, it has, Jackie Brown, was it Titanic in 97? Just I'm trying to think of movies I like a lot. Scream 2.
97 is not on mine.
It's not on mine, but I just want to mention that, like 97 and 99. But the one that I actually have is 98, which in 98 we got The Big Lebowski, which is my favorite 90s film. The Truman Show, A Bug's Life, Pixar's second theatrical released film, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, among others. That was probably my favorite later year.
I've got in '98, like you said, Big Lebowski, Saving Private Ryan, Truman Show, Bug's Life. I have Rushmore on here, which I know you're not a huge fan of it. American History X. I think it's a fantastic movie. I put Blade on here. I don't think it's not bad, but it's not like incredible. But it is like a big push for like superhero movies. I have Fear and Loathing, Mulan, and I also have Life is Beautiful on this list. for that year. I don't think you've seen that though.
You also have Saving Private Ryan that year. Did you just mention that?
Yeah, that was like second one.
Okay.
Um,
And
like
Shakespeare in Love. I mean, these I haven't seen those, but I know those were big ones in the Oscars and everything.
Good Will Hunting I have on here for '98. I don't know if you've seen that one yet.
No.
But
also, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out. I know it's not a good film, but it's also the first year that I saw a movie in theaters. So another reason I want to put that on there.
Blubber.
Godzilla.
Yes. I also have 1995 on my list. 7, Toy Story, Braveheart, Heat, Usual Suspects, Before Sunrise, Casino. Then I also have Empire Records, Jumanji, and Tommy Boy and Clueless. Surprised you didn't have 95 on there.
95's never been a big year in cinema for me. Like, I mean, there's a couple that are really, really good, like 7 and Toy Story, and the other ones I like, but it's not one that I would include in the 90s. 99, I mean, it has some big ones too. You got, obviously Phantom Menace, despite not being the best film in the Star Wars franchise, it does kick off the prequels, and it's a very big film. So you got that. You got The Sixth Sense. You got Toy Story 2, which is really great. You got The Matrix in 99. American Beauty. I think American Pie was 99 as well.
On here for me. You got Fight Club.
Magnolia.
I got Being John Malkovich, Eyes Wide Shut, The Green Mile, Sleepy Hollow I have on here. I think that movie is pretty great. Girl Interrupted, and then I have 2 that are more like cult classics. I have The Mummy and 10 Things I Hate About You.
Okay.
2007 is my first year in the 2000s, so I don't know if you have some before.
Yeah, I have 2 years before that. The first one I want to talk about, both of these are really good years, so I'm surprised you didn't put those down. The first one I want to talk about is 2002. Definitely the first really, 2001 had some big hits in there, because 2001 you had like the first Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Monsters Inc., Shrek, Ocean's 11. It has some big money makers in there, but 2002 really did it for me, because you got Punch Drunk Love, which I just watched last night. You got Catch Me If You Can, which I think Spielberg's last great film. Gangs of New York. You got Spider-Man. You got Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. What else you got in that year? I know you got, I think Scooby-Doo came out that year as well. Now, people heard me laughing watching this video. Like, you put Scooby-Doo talking about the greatest years of cinema. Yes. I like the movie, so yes, I'm going to include in there. You got Attack of the Clones, the second Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. So I think 2002 was a solid year. First really great year, because 2000 was definitely underwhelming that year in cinema.
2002, you also have Road to Perdition, 8 Mile, and Insomnia to throw in on there.
Yeah, definitely. And then the next one I'm talking about is 2004, which is even better than 2002, I would say. Probably the second best year in the 2000s, I would say. I think 2007 probably is the best year in the 2000s, but 2004 would be the second best. You got Spider-Man 2. You got Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You have The Aviator, which is one of my favorite biopics. You have Before Sunset. You have Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and you have Kill Bill Volume 2 and Collateral, all in that year.
And Mean Girls and Finding Neverland.
And The Notebook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I like those movies. You have $1 Million Baby that year, like White Chicks, like say Garden State. If you want to throw like 2 more, Garden State's cult classic. White Chicks just guilty pleasure for a lot of people. Yeah, like I say, there's those 2 years. I don't know. I think they're really good, but like I say, I wanted to limit myself on what years to include.
And then obviously 2007, which is on both our lists. To me, that would be hands down the best year of the 2000s.
Yeah, it's not no contest for me.
The
the only one I have in the 2000s.
The films I put down for this year is There Will Be Blood, Superbad, No Country for Old Men, Zodiac, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and The Darjeeling Unlimited.
And I added Juno, Into the Wild, and Eastern Promises.
I mean, you also have like I Am Legend that year and Ratatouille. Trying to go to awards too.
Yeah, you had.
You got Sweeney Todd, which I'm not a fan of that film. But
I think it's. I mean, I think it's better than what I enjoy it. If that makes sense. But another one like I was looking at 2007. I didn't put it on my list because I don't think it's a great movie. But if you want to talk about like iconic movies, like you also had Transformers that year.
Yeah, I did not put that on my.
Yeah, it just. I mean, it's. I don't think it's great. I don't dislike it, but it did kick off like a huge blockbuster franchise.
I mean, you had other big movies in that year too. That I'm not going to go out and say that they're good, but they're on here. I'm going to like on the top money making films that year, and that would be like the third Pirates of the Caribbean film, the fifth Harry Potter film, Spider-Man 3, Shrek 3, the Simpsons movie, National Treasure 2, 300. All of those films came out that year as well.
And you also had Reign Over Me, one of Adam Sandler's best movies.
Yes. I think you also had Don't Mess with the Zohan. Or maybe that was 2008. No, that was 2008. Chuck and Larry was 2007.
Chuck and Larry was 2007.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't wait to our Adam Sandler talk.
What is that all you had in the 2000s, or did you put 2009?
No, that's all I put in the 2000s. You have 2009?
I don't have 2009. I didn't know if you would include it.
No, I don't think there was. I mean, there's some good films that year, but I don't think enough to include that as a great year in cinema. I think 2008 would be better than 2009. But ultimately, when I look in 2008 in cinema, the main things I take away in terms of that is it kicks off the modern day superhero genre as far as films go. But yeah, 2000s to me. If you're looking at the 2000s, 2007's the best year in cinema, followed by 2004, and then followed by 2002. They'd be top 3 years in that order. For the 90s, for me, it would probably be, 1998, 1994, and 1997, probably after that.
We're talking 90s. I got probably 94. Then 99, then 95, probably.
And then for the 80s, I would say 1989, 1987, 1982 would be my list.
Yeah, I just got 82. Like I say, there are movies like in 85. I mean, the 80s, I don't know, one of my favorite decades.
But that's just, I don't know. Like, you really think that's your favorite decade?
See, I don't know. Yes and no. Like as a decade, yes.
Take out all the Arnold movies. Take all those out.
That's not happening, man.
Take all of those out.
If anything, we're taking the Stallone out because he lost.
No, well, this is part of the conversation. I'm saying, like, take Arnold, take his movies out. Pretend they don't exist. Now look at the 80s. Is it still your favorite decade?
Overall, as a decade, yeah. Movies, I don't know. I think.
Yeah, movies. I'm not saying do you want to live in the 80s.
I do. I absolutely do. I think the 2010s actually have the more. I'm gonna have to look at highest rated movies, like, as far as like highest 5-star movies.
Because I mean that's when I've seen the most films. So 2010s is my favorite decade in cinema. Because I've seen the most movies, and they're the most movies that resonate with me because they're modern day and I can relate more to the characters.
Well, from what
Also,
I'm looking
the
at,
edginess and
more 5-star films for me
the 90s do.
than when I'm looking at everything else. I think 80s, yeah, 90s have more 5-star films for me.
Huh.
I've got
a lot of the films, and I want to change this. I want to evolve as a person, a film goer, especially with everything before 1980. I definitely want to dive into that and explore more. I've added a bunch of stuff to my list, and it's just those are harder films to have access to too, because even like when you go on Netflix, you go on stuff like first of all, I don't know why Netflix doesn't have an option to search by decade.
yeah,
Or Amazon or Hulu, whatever. Like Hulu has a classic section, but when you go there, it has like 10 movies.
Yeah, Hulu's not that good for movies, so
No. Netflix is the best. I love Netflix's just navigation is the best than any of them. But even with that, like I said, like you searched the other day for A24 movies, and it just came up a bunch of movies that weren't A24, and I'm like, what's happening? I don't like their search, the way you search for films on there, but I feel like a lot of the movies on these, especially Netflix, Amazon, I feel like has a lot, but it's just like you got to know exactly what you're looking for.
yeah.
But like a lot of these older movies that are on there are big names. Like I still want to check them out, stuff before 1980.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are big name stuff. Like, for example, Lethal Weapon or whatever. Like if I want to go watch like an Oscar caliber film or the Oscar nominees for 1984, I don't know if I'm able to find them online.
No, I mean, like I said, I have Criterion, but even then, a lot of those like aren't what you would consider like they're not. I don't know. A lot of foreign films, which I know you're not going to watch.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch it. I mean, obviously, if it's coming out new, I'm going to watch it. Like I watched Parasite, I watched Roma, liked both of those films.
Yeah.
But am I going to go do a deep dive in foreign cinema? No, it's just not for me.
I have to be in the right mood to watch one. I don't know. Like I'm trying to like if there was a foreign film that I watched that I didn't like, and I don't think there is.
I've seen ones I don't like, but most of those came from I had to watch in school.
Yeah.
But it's another thing with foreign cinema too, where it's like even more so than I guess an American film that I was excited for. If that's something I want to see in cinema or in a cinema, because there's nothing distracting me from watching it and reading the subtitles and fully investing in the movie. Not that I don't fully invest in in films I watch here, but there's always distractions.
Yeah.
Always different stuff. And if I look away for a second, I'm going to miss the subtitles, and I'm going to like be lost to what's happening in the movie.
Even this whole conversation.
Yeah. Like.
But from the 90s on, as far as Letterboxd, what I have rated, like I have 25-star films. Which if I watch some of these, I'm trying to think like Dumb and Dumber, maybe a 4.5. If I go back and watch it.
I'm at a 5 right now, and that's definitely probably going down. That's why I definitely want to rewatch movies before we do that top 10 of the 90s.
Because I know I watched it. It says last September, and it was a 5-star then. But if I remember, it was like leaning towards a 4.5. Silence of the Lambs, Goodfellas, like Lion King was a 5-star last year, but maybe a 4.5. But even then, like I think that would be the one with the most.
How many did you say? 10?
I have 20.
Holy shit!
In the 90s, like I said, Dumb and Dumber, A Perfect World, which that one's always gonna be a 5-star film. Underrated movie. You gotta watch it. One of my favorites from my childhood. That and The Crow.
I know. Trust me.
I think you would
the VHS, and you're like, let's watch this.
What's the movie? I think you would like it if you watched it. It'd probably
Maybe.
be like a 4. I don't think you would be like, oh, blown away. But I just watched it as a kid. That and The Crow are always going to be 5-star films. By
Uh,
Pulp Fiction, Silence of the Lambs, Braveheart, Forrest Gump, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, Goodfellas. Like I say, that one might change. Last Action Hero, T2, Big Lebowski, Magnolia, Seven, Aladdin, The Lion King, Toy Story, Before Sunrise, and Point Break.
I have 10 films as well, or I have 10 films at a 5-star. One of those is Dumb and Dumber, and that's definitely changing once I rewatch it. I assume I might be blown away and be like, oh, God, I was right.
Well, see, I think I don't think I do it as much as you, but like, I think you're going to rate Dumb and Dumber based off Dumb and Dumber 2 now, is what'll bring it down for you.
Maybe, but I feel like
happened with Force Awakens.
Another thing that's a little bit different than you, because I'm going to rewatch Dumb and Dumber and view it through 2020 eyes, not through 1994. So a lot of that humor is probably going to be like, yeah, it's not for me.
See, I don't know. I only do that if I haven't seen the movie before. With Dumb and Dumber, like, I couldn't tell you how many times I watched this movie as a kid. And just thought,
and that's fine, and that's fine that it still is beloved to you, and it's 5 right now for me too. But if I have that problem rewatching it, even if I still love the movie, like I'm not gonna give it a 5, like, because it's not perfect. To me, a 5 has to be perfect in my eyes. But also I have Dumb and Dumber, I have Hook, I have Scream, Titanic, The Big Lebowski, The Truman Show, Pulp Fiction, Seven, Jurassic Park, and Toy Story. Those are my 5-star films of the 90s.
Yeah, the only ones out of the 90s that I can see changing, Silence of the Lambs and Goodfellas and Dumb and Dumber.
Right. Terminator 2 I rewatched last year, and I think the fall, and it's a 4.5. Like, that film would be a 5 if it wasn't for was it Eric Furlong, or not a good actor, brings it down to a 4.5. But there's some PTA movies in there that they could be higher, could be lower. Toy Story 2 might move up to a 5 when I watch it again. It's a 4.5 right now, but it was borderline. Like, it was a high 4.5.
Yeah, that's another thing. I've got 4.5 movies that could be 5s when I rewatch them. Like, say, Titanic, Heat, The Green Mile, A Few Good Men. Always, pushes the edge. That's one you should put in your watch list when you do your 90s this week.
I mean, there's like Pulp Fiction, Seven, Toy Story, Scream, The Truman Show, and The Big Lebowski. They're never changing. They're perfect 5 stars for me. Jurassic Park, it's a 5. I don't know. I can't see it changing, but it could go down to a 4.5.
Titanic,
depending on how many movies they keep making that takes away from my viewing. But yeah, Titanic is one I haven't seen in years. I have it on Blu-ray. I need to watch it. I'm going to try to rewatch it before we make that list.
That's a 4.5 for me.
But that's another film where it's like a kid thing too that adds to my 5. So unless I have a big problem with it rewatching it, because it's like I had it on VHS as a kid, or my mom had it on VHS with the 2-part one. Always obsessed with it. I think mainly because it had 2 of them in the VHS thing. I was like, oh, why does it have 2? I was like, just kept rewatching. Mainly, I just wanted to watch the second one, like after they hit the ice. Just from that point on.
That's how you. Yeah, I don't know. It's some of these are tough to look at. Like Tombstone, that could be a 5-star film in the future.
It's like for the 80s, I only have 3 movies I have at a 5-star. But you like 80s more than I do. Like, I have Empire, Return of the Jedi, and Blade Runner, the only 5-star films that I have out of the 80s. And most people wouldn't give at least one of those anywhere near that. And then I have
16 in the 80s. One of those is Lonesome Dove, which, like I said, that's technically a limited series.
yeah.
And then I'm looking at ones that, Mad Max 2, that could go to a 4.5 for yeah, I do have that at 5 stars. That one, yeah, I've got it 5 stars. That could change.
Now I'm looking at some of those now too, and like Lethal Weapon.
That's a 5-star for me.
It's a high 4.5. It's a high one. I liked it a lot. Terminator, and like there's a couple in here that were 5s at one point. I'm pretty sure and moved down. Like I think Terminator was probably a 5 for me at one point, but rewatching it,
it will be for me one day a 5 because it's 4.5 right now.
The first one.
Yeah.
And 2 that I did have at 5s originally, but have went down to a 4.5. One is Beverly Hills Cop. Still love the film. Think it's really great. Definitely favorite cop movie of the 80s. Probably. Yeah.
Lethal Weapon?
I would have to watch Lethal Weapon and Beverly Hills Cop back to back to make the decision. But I love like Axel Foley and everything. But the main one that used to be a 5, used to be one of my favorite movies, moved down to a 4.5 is Christmas Vacation.
That's still a 5 for me right now.
I still love Christmas Vacation. But I don't know. It's just like, it's just different stuff. Like the scene in the mall where he's like, I don't know. It's just stuff like that. It's just Clark Griswold and in general. Like, I mean, when we do the next Top Shelf episode, which is, well, no, not the next one, but in a couple weeks when we do the Top Shelf, which is going to be favorite characters of the 80s, he's probably going to be in there, but he makes so many bad decisions. And part of it's like,
what's so funny about him?
Well, a lot of it I like, but when he's, thinking about or cheating on Ellen, that's I don't know, just like a little bit too far. And it goes to the humor at the time too, of the 80s, where people are like, yeah, I would do that. Nah, it's not funny to me.
Like some of these, I'm like, our 4.5s could be 5s one day. Like On Golden Pond, I really love that movie. Arthur could be a 5.
I haven't watched Arthur in years. I don't even know if I have it rated on here. I don't think I do. Or I have it at 4, but I mean...
Well, it's one of the movies you can watch on HBO for free right now.
There's several I haven't watched in a long time that can move up. Like, Roadhouse. Roadhouse might move up to a 5.
Yes.
I love Roadhouse.
It did the last
I have to think for that. It's like, I don't understand why I like that movie so much, but...
Sarah's watching that the next time you watch it, dude. She's missing out. Like, I'll let you watch it. You gotta let her watch it.
Another list, Top Shelf, we're gonna do at some point is top 10 most rewatchable movies, and that's definitely gonna be on there.
Yes.
I can just turn it on anytime.
He might top my character list, honestly.
Oh, he's definitely on the list.
It's just like Cliff Booth. He's so cool.
Honestly. When I was trying to like think of that today a little bit, and Dalton's definitely getting on there, but Wade Garrett, he's a consideration too.
Oh man, yeah, you gotta let Sarah watch it. She's missing out. Like, I don't even know if she's heard of this movie.
I doubt it. Have you heard of Roadhouse? Nope.
Oh man, see, like, you gotta pass it on, man. That's one you need to do a live watch of. It's Roadhouse.
Yeah, figure out how to do that. We should do that. I don't know, like Indiana Jones. I need to rewatch all of those. I don't love those movies as much as a lot of people do. I don't think they're bad. Temple of Doom is good. Raiders, though, a lot of people give that like 5 stars, and I must be missing it. I don't.
Last Crusade was always my favorite.
I think that was my favorite too. But right now, like, I have, and my rating on Letterboxd is just when I created Letterboxd and I gave these ratings, because I haven't watched them since then. Yeah. But or at least I haven't watched Last Crusade since then. But I have it at a 4, which is the same thing I have Raiders at. But I don't know. They're just like they're interesting characters, and you want to know more, especially with Indiana. But I don't know. It's all right. It's good.
Yeah. Also, one thing I'm looking at is like, we're just looking at 5-star films.
Yeah.
as far as decades. Like if I did like a rating, like an average of the movies, like I think it might change per decade.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, I do have a soft spot for the '80s because of all the movies. You got a lot of good Robin Williams in there. He had a good, I don't know, different stuff. Like I used to watch all these movies as a kid, though. That is what pulls me.
I'm gonna go to 2000s now, if you want to do that and look at your list there. I have 13 films from the 2000s as of right now at 5 stars.
14 for me.
And that includes The Dark Knight, Inglourious Bastards, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, No Country for Old Men, Catch Me If You Can, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, There Will Be Blood, Punch Drunk Love, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Superbad, and Gangs of New York.
I've got District 9, Pan's Labyrinth, Superbad, Catch Me If You Can, Gangs of New York, Adventureland, No Country for Old Men, The Dark Knight, Inglourious Bastards, Up, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Before Sunset, and There Will Be Blood.
But too, like this is like all the ratings, and I have a bunch of 4.5s too, and 4s. But then when you keep scrolling down through, like we're on Letterboxd. That's what we're looking at our films, by the way. I don't know if we mentioned that, but like, what do you keep looking at?
Everybody should have it.
But there's a lot of films that I have marked as watched on here from the 2000s that I don't have any rating for, that I need to go revisit.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they'd be 5-star films or like Incredibles. I need to rewatch The Incredibles, and like WALL-E. I love WALL-E, but I need to rewatch it. Pan's Labyrinth. I need to rewatch Prestige.
Like I'm looking at some of these. I know. Yeah, you do need to rewatch Prestige. That's a 4.5 for sure. Like movies I have rated. Like I'm looking. I don't have Curious Case of Benjamin Button rated. From what I remember, probably a 4.5. Like Constantine, I really love that. It's not. I mean, it's gonna be like a 4 for me probably. And other ones are gonna be like
Zodiac. Don't have that rated.
I don't know. Yeah, like others are gonna be ones. Like I'm looking like Driven.
Brokeback Mountain, don't have that rated. Mean Girls. Sorry, trying to get through these. Castaway. Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yeah,
a lot of solid ones on here that I know they're going to be high, but I don't have them rated. But yeah, like you were saying, there's also a lot of terrible films in the 2000s.
They're going to be low. Like I don't have Electra rated, but I can imagine what it would be if I watched it right now.
2000s is definitely the decade that I've seen the most bad movies. But that's because I was a kid, and a lot of those movies that I watched was not mine. Yeah. That was just my parents were renting them, or I rented them. I picked it out at a movie gallery because I was a kid, or I was taking to see it, or whatever. Like, all of the scary movies. That whole fucking franchise was garbage.
Oh, I thought you were just talking about horror movies in general.
No, well, those too. Most of those from the 2000s were bad.
And then Behind the Mask,
Butterfly Effect. Oh God.
I didn't watch that, dude.
The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah, bad.
The bad comic book films that came out in that early part of the decade, like Fantastic Four, Electra, like you were saying.
Year One.
Year One. That was a late 2000s, but that was bad. The Corpse Bride was awful.
Doom. That was bad.
I watched it as a kid. Yeah.
Let's talk about one that just sucks so much. My Sister's Keeper. Ugh. That movie's trash, dude.
I don't think I watched it.
That's one right there is awful. Look at other things like Super Size Me. What a terrible documentary. Just trash.
What else we got here? Don't Mess with the Zohan. I want to mention that again. Emphasize how bad that was. Garfield.
Nah, I didn't watch that, dude.
You didn't watch Garfield or Garfield Tale of Two Kitties?
If I did, I watched Garfield. I know I didn't watch the sequel because
Man,
not for me.
The Grudge.
I never watched The Grudge.
Spy Kids 3.
3D.
Game Over.
Game Over.
The Pacifier.
Oh, yes. That's a guilty pleasure for me.
The Pink Panther. You remember that?
I didn't watch that, dude. That is not my kind of comedy. Like, the 2000s was just decent to me as a decade. When you look at overall, like, what I have high rated and what I have low rated, it was all right.
I mean, it's interesting too, but like that's what I'm saying. Is like the 2010s is definitely my favorite decade, because I just watched. Obviously, when I was a kid, and that's how I look, and I look at that decade now mainly because I've seen so many movies from that decade, from when I was a kid. But I watch movies differently now, and I don't go after those type of movies. So like if I actually like lived through the 2000s like I am living now, like if I was older then and watched movies differently then, I don't know how I would have perceived it differently, because I would have watched different films. Like there's a lot of like Oscar movies that in the 2000s that I didn't watch.
Yeah.
Let's see, like 2006. Let's just go there.
Well, I will say I have 27 5-star films in the 2010s.
You give a lot more movies 5 stars than I do. You and Bill.
Well, hey, don't be rude. My 5 stars are legit 5 stars for me. Two of those 5 stars are documentaries.
I have 28. How many did you say?
Okay. I said 27. 2 of them are documentaries. But apparently I give more 5-star films.
Overall, I think you do. And a few of these could change, but not most of them.
Yeah.
Like the movies I have. Hold on. Yeah, 28.
I could see some of these changing, but only like a few.
I have Infinity War and Endgame, The Force Awakens, Marriage Story, La La Land, Lady Bird, Spider-Verse, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Blade Runner 2049, The Shape of Water, Drive, Logan, 3 Billboards, The Dark Knight Rises, A Star is Born, Toy Story 4, Room, Prisoners, Sicario, The Disaster Artist, Hell or High Water, Creed, This Is the End, Crazy Stupid Love, The Place Beyond the Pines, Blue Valentine, The Spectacular Now, and The Peanut Butter Falcon. That's all the 5-star movies I have.
You want me to list all the ones I have?
Well, I guess not.
I have Honey Boy, Peanut Butter Falcon, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Endgame. This is another one too. That one doesn't count either. So 26. Bully, which is a documentary, A Star is Born. Won't You Be My Neighbor, documentary, which you'll never watch. Infinity War, Spring Breakers, Logan, About Time, Crazy Stupid Love, The Edge of 17, Before Midnight, Perks of Being a Wallflower, Arrival, La La Land, Mad Max Fury Road, Hell or High Water, Sicario, Prisoners, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Wind River, Blade Runner 2049, Drive, and Boyhood.
I don't even give documentaries ratings, though.
Wow. That's rude.
I give it a like or no like.
Why not rate it?
I don't know. It's just a different way to judge a film, I guess. And maybe that's something I'll do in the future.
Maybe.
Same thing with short films. I don't give. Well.
I
don't know. Like, I think the Pixar short films I've seen, I actually have gave ratings to.
Yeah.
But typically I don't. Like, I watched a couple Paul Thomas Anderson short films last night, Well, really just one, because that other one wasn't really a film.
That mattress man.
Yeah, I don't really consider that a short film.
I tweeted that like 2 weeks ago. You didn't watch it then?
No, I didn't see it.
Yeah, tweeted that too, like 2 weeks ago.
That was hilarious. Just fucking.
Oh.
But that's on here though. So I was looking at it last night because I was trying to like look at all the movies I hadn't seen by him, and I was like, what is this?
That's not. I don't know. To me, it's not even. That one's not even a minute long, so it's not even a short film. That is literally, to me, it's just like a special feature you would put on a Blu-ray.
Did you watch the couch one? It was only like 2 minutes.
No, I hadn't seen that. That is another thing I would like to point out. I don't know if you kind of care about Letterboxd that much. It really annoys me when I go to look at a director and it's got stuff like that listed. Like, I wish they would split it up between.
I wish they'd split it up too.
Feature films, short films, documentary.
Yeah.
And then future work, because it annoys me when I did my Richard Linklater watch. The only movie I've got left is Where'd You Go, Bernadette? But it's like, oh, you only have 86%. Man, get out of here.
What does it say you haven't seen?
Future movies. I don't like that. Like, no,
well, future movies shouldn't even be on Letterboxd.
No, unless you put it under another category. Annoys me.
But that's, yeah, I have a problem with that too, because I was like looking at Adam Sandler stuff actually yesterday, and it says that I've seen 47% of his films, which is 34 of 71, and I was like, what are you talking about? I feel like I've seen all but like maybe 3 of his movies. I don't know, like, and I'm looking through all these, and I'm like, what did I not watch? Well, this one is like a short film that he was in. I guess I need to watch Goldman versus Silverman. It says 2020. Don't know what that is, but.
Well, see, that's not out yet then. Probably.
But it's like a lot of these are like cameos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I would even. The cameos. What is this? A Day with Meatball, like a day with Adam Sandler's Meatball from 2002, 2 minutes. Why is this on? Like, I don't know. Like stuff like that. Yeah, I want 100%. I watch all of his features. I want 100%.
Yeah. Well, it's like I'm looking. Richard Linklater says I've seen 82%, 24 out of 29. Yet I only have one movie left of his, because of the stuff that hasn't came out yet. And then it's also like when it splits up, like. He has that Up to Speed limited series on Hulu. Like, that's not a film.
Like I don't know why that's
that under another section.
Well, what is this bullshit too? When I go to, well, never mind. That's actor. Okay, I was about to have a. Well, even this though, this pisses me off. I go to Tarantino.
Yeah.
Director, 15 films. I'm sorry, what? 73%? What are you talking about? When I go on.
That's the thing. It includes a Whole Bloody Affair.
It includes Reservoir Dogs from 1991, a 12-minute short film that he did.
You gotta watch it, dude.
I will, just so I can log it on here. What?
Gotta find it.
His Friend's Birthday, Quentin Tarantino from 1987. Where can I find this? Is this? I'm gonna look it up on YouTube.
His personal collection. But like, I don't like how you have Kill Bill 1 and 2, but also have Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair. Come on, man, make up your mind. And you can't have Grindhouse and Death Proof.
Oh, it's my best friend's birthday. Yeah, it's like, I mean, I guess I'll just go through and log all of those as watched.
What do you got?
Well, I guess it's that short film is actually on YouTube. So I don't know. I might spend some time looking up all these short films and watching it just so I can have it completed on Letterboxd.
What do you have for Tarantino watched percentage?
73.
I've got 80.
How do you have 80?
I've seen 4 Rooms. And I watched and liked Kill Bill: Whole Bloody Affair.
You've actually seen that, or you just watched it?
I've seen both Kill Bill, so yeah, I've seen Kill Bill. This is the same runtime like we looked at. So yeah, I'm gonna and I did that for my Tarantino list that I watched and liked it because I that's what I included on his movies. I didn't put Kill Bill 1 in here, 2 there because it's one movie.
Well, I have that watched as well too.
Okay,
That's what I included in my list. I just changed it though because I have seen Grindhouse. I've seen Grindhouse and I've seen both versions of Death Proof and Planet Terror. So mine should change now. Hold on, I'm gonna go back to his name. Mine should change now. I have 80% now.
Yeah.
I just need to watch those 2 short films that he made as well as 4 Rooms. But that's not really.
4 Rooms sucked.
I can see why it's on there, but it's not one of his films.
He just directed part of the movie. I don't know. Just a little side complaint I had about Letterboxd.
Yeah.
There's not many complaints I have about Letterboxd, but that's one of them.
It is my favorite social media app. Spend so many hours just getting lost in this website.
I just look at it like, what reviews? What you guys got to say about this movie?
What can I log? I need another log on my Letterboxd. That's the biggest thing when I go through a day and I'm like, what did I not accomplish today? I did not add
anything. Like, wait till they start sending you push notifications. Oh, where are you at? Oh, dang it.
They do that?
No, but I'm saying wait for it. Oh. Where have you been? You haven't logged a movie today. Like, no. I'm so bad about it too.
This went too long, and I have like one movie on my recent activity on my page, and like it hasn't changed. I get bothered by it. I'm like, get it off here.
Please let me watch. I'm gonna watch something now. Let's say it's been 2 days since I watched a movie. Technically, it's like, come on, man.
I know. I keep checking on yours, and I just keep seeing Supersonic by the Oasis movie. I'm like, God, man, watch a new movie.
You told me to watch Superstore.
I know you should have. I'm glad you're watching it.
And I am, but it's like, man, now there goes my 24 marathon.
Man, that already went out the window for me.
I told you that one was going to get you. I told you.
Well, no, to be fair, I watched one yesterday. I watched Low Tide yesterday. Got back into it. But that movie wasn't good either.
What I'm saying. It got you.
I'm like, man. At least I avoided the exception. I'm still avoiding that one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just.
This one dude, I don't know what his problem is. 2 stars for Jumanji.
Man.
The next level, sorry. But still, that's an enjoyable film.
That's better than Welcome to the Jungle.
Anyways, back to best years in cinema. We haven't talked about the 2010s yet, and our favorite years of that decade. Now, what is the first year you have on there?
2013.
Okay. 2013, I remember year I graduated high school, I remember that year being incredible in cinema. But looking back, it wasn't really that incredible, I don't think. I didn't put it on my list. I only put 2 years noteworthy. I'll mention another one, too, that kind of is in there. But I didn't put 2013.
What's wrong with you?
It had a couple on there that there's several really good movies. I mean, you got Spectacular Now, you got This Is the End, Spring Breakers. But I don't know. Like, I just didn't make it on my list here that I was considering.
Well, I've got, for 2013, let's see what I've got overall for all my stuff.
I do think it probably was the best year in the first half of the decade.
Yeah. I've got 12 Years a Slave, Gravity, Prisoners, Wolf of Wall Street, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club, Before Midnight, About Time, Her, Blue Ruin, Drinking Buddies, The Way, Way Back, and Spring Breakers.
There's a couple I forgot about in there. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good year. Best year of the first half of the decade.
I've got 2016 also. What do you?
The next, I don't have 2016, but that is the one I wanted to mention. I didn't put it on the list, but it almost made it on there. It was a really good year.
Yeah.
And it actually, 2016 was one of the years where it's like, I didn't think it was a good year when the year was happening, but then looking back, it actually was a really good year. I don't have many 5-star films actually in 2016. I only have 2, and that is La La Land and Hell or High Water. But
those
But
two.
there's a lot of that's one of the years it's like average rating.
Yeah. I've got not 5-star movies, but just the ones I want to mention: Arrival, Moonlight, Zootopia, Captain America: Civil War, The Jungle Book, La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, Hell or High Water, The Nice Guys, Hacksaw Ridge, Everybody Wants Some, and Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah.
Love most of those, especially Hell or High Water. So good.
Second favorite of that year.
Yeah, you're missing out, dude.
But then that leads us to the next year, which I would hands down say is the best year of the decade and probably my personal favorite year in cinema, period.
Yeah.
And that's 2017.
What you got?
So for 5-star films, I have 6. And that includes Lady Bird, Blade Runner 2049, The Shape of Water, Logan, The Disaster Artist, and 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
I'll 4. Logan, 3 Billboards, Wind River, and Blade Runner 2049.
Which ones? Sorry. Oh, okay, never mind. I'll call you. Okay, I was trying to see which ones you don't have. You don't have The Disaster Artist or Lady Bird. You threw in
Or Shape of Water.
Wind. You don't have Shape of Water?
I don't know. It's 4.5. But yeah, I do have Wind River because it's underrated and everyone should watch it. But others that are close, you've got Lady Bird is close for me. Shape of Water is close to a 5 stars. Thor Ragnarok is close. Last Flag Flying, Only the Brave. Hostels, Brawl and Cell Block 99, First Reformed, The Rider, and Revenge are all close.
Yeah, and there's also A Ghost Story, The Big Sick. This would go down. I don't know, but The Hero, that movie that's on Hulu with Sam Elliott, that was great in my opinion. Had a 4.5, but then also a lot of other like 4-star films that I thought were really good. Baby Driver, Get Out, The Last Jedi, Guardians 2, Coco, It, Wonder Woman, Mother. People were missing out on that movie. John Wick, Chapter 2, War for the Planet of the Apes, Wind River, Thoroughbreds, Columbus.
You haven't mentioned Disobedience yet on your list.
That wasn't 2017. It's 2018.
2017, according to Letterboxd, dude.
2018. This one I saw in theaters. Only the Brave. The Glass Castle. And then a lot of 3.5s too. Just really, that was one of the years that even while it was happening, I was like, this is a great year in cinema.
Yeah. First Reformed is just incredible.
And that's another film where I don't know, like that's another film where I could watch it and it could move up to a 5. First Reformed. I haven't seen it in a while.
It's also under 2017 on Letterboxd.
Yes, that's why we're talking about it. I've just seen the Disobedience was too. I don't know why Letterboxd is doing that.
It's like, that's another thing that's annoying. It's like whenever it came out.
Yeah. 2018, I will say about that is, you like 2018?
Yeah.
It's better than I remember. It's one of those two that it's like, honestly, I thought that was one of the worst years in cinema. When it was happening. Looking back now, it is better. But I don't, and part of that is I look at like how many 5-star films I had, and it's like when I was watching it, I'm like, there's not really many films at all that I gave 5 stars. Now I have 3. I have 3 movies that I gave 5 stars from that year. But I don't know. There wasn't a lot of game changers that year. I think it's better than I remember, but I still wouldn't put it towards the top.
I don't know. There's a lot. I only have 3 5-star. One's a documentary. But the 4.5s are solid though. Like I've got The Favorite, Creed 2, Bad Times at El Royale, 8th Grade, Blind Spotting, which I know wasn't for you. I thought that movie was incredible. First Reformed, The Writer, Revenge.
I mean, and there's like some 4.5s that I'm looking at that's going to change. But ones that
you won't get hard on foot.
I have that at 4.5. I have Creed 2, 8th Grade, Solo, which is not changing. Game Night, Incredibles 2, Annihilation, Black Klansman, and Isle of Dogs. I have Bumblebee at 4.5, but that was based off my enjoyment of that film. That probably will move down to a 4 though when I rewatch it.
I have it at a 4.
The Favorite's a 4 for mine.
Quiet Place 2. Oh man.
A Quiet Place or A Quiet Place 2?
I've seen them both. I got a sneak cut.
But there's a lot of 4-star movies. Well, not a lot. A good amount. A Quiet Place is a 3.5 for me. It's good.
And
if they had made that, and I understand it works, with it being simple and everything, and that's fine, the concept of the film. But I'm a big script person, and I like dialogue, and I like stuff like that. So obviously, this film was not going to be for me.
Well, it's more like body language for the script.
I don't know. If it had,
if you read this like actual script, you would like the movie more.
Maybe
because you get all like and it might be online for you to read it. I'm not sure. Because then you can get all the stuff like the unspoken stuff on there.
One day I want a library of just screenplays too. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I can actually have the physical copy in my hand and read it.
Be nice.
But I also think A Quiet Place should have been longer. And had not too much longer, but a little bit longer, and had more scenes with him and the daughter. Because from what I remember, I've seen it twice now. From what I remember, they have a few scenes, but they don't have a lot. And that scene at the end with them, to me, would have been more emotional if I had seen a couple more scenes with them in general. Especially now that we're getting the franchise continuing without him, obviously.
Well, I don't know. See, I know he's in at least one scene in the new movie.
Well, it's gonna be flashbacks, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Which it depends on the flashbacks. Could give you more enjoyment for the first movie?
Maybe. I think I'll actually like the second film more than I will like the first one.
Probably.
Because we're also exploring in the second film the backstory with these creatures.
Yeah. Which that's what I liked about the first one is that it just threw you right into the world.
I didn't mind us getting thrown in, but that's another thing was we don't have any explanation of what these are.
Yeah. Well, that's
which is not
because they didn't know they were going to get a sequel.
It's not needed.
Fix your time on it.
It's not needed because it is a simple idea and it works as a film. Like this. I know he made other films before this, but if this had been his first film, it would be like an amazing debut.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know about you. I also have 2019 on my list.
Yes, that's the last film I have on my last year. I have a film on my list. It's 2019. Really good year. Last year was great.
Yeah. I have 4 5-star films.
I have. Let me get to it real quick.
I think you have 3.
A little bit more than that, I think. I have 5-star films.
Whoa.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, obviously. I have Avengers Endgame, Marriage Story, Toy Story 4, and Peanut Butter Falcon.
I've got Honey Boy, Peanut Butter Falcon, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and in Avengers Endgame.
Did not know you have Honey Boy at 5.
I do.
Have you watched it more than once?
No.
Okay. That's another movie I need to revisit because it's on Amazon now. I'm excited to revisit. It's just like I have so much that I need to watch that it's what do I start with?
Yeah, that and Peanut Butter Falcon. I can't. Oh, I know Peanut Butter Falcon is not going to change. That's going to be a 5-star. Absolute magic piece of cinema. I thought about watching it the other day, so I'll probably watch it tomorrow or after this video because A24 Marathon's on halt currently. But Honey Boy was just the opposite of what Peanut Butter Falcon was. It's still a 5-star for me, but it's like so much darker, more emotional with everything that he went through. So like I thought it was Alma Harrell should have been nominated for Best Director. I thought for the movie.
It is one of the movies I have it at a 4 right now.
Yeah.
But it's not really what I expected, and it's a movie that it could move up to a 4.5 for me. I don't think it'll ever be a 5, but it could move up to a 4.5 maybe. But it's just like I thought.
You wanted more older, I think.
Yeah, I thought we were getting a whole biopic of Shia, and I thought like we're gonna see him like dealing with his film career, everything that was going on in present day for him. And instead, it was mainly about him as a kid, and then jumping a little bit to him in rehab. So that was like my shock coming out of the movie.
Well, that's one thing. When you rewatch it, it might go up now that you know what he wanted it to be. Also, I didn't mention short films. Like I have another short film at 5 stars in 2019, but it doesn't count. So.
And I have what do I have? I have several films on here that I'm not even going to mention because I'm sure they're going to move down from 4.5. But other ones like Jojo Rabbit's a 4.5. It could move up to a 5 eventually. That's another film I need to get on Blu-ray. Doctor Sleep is a 4.5 for me. I thought it was incredible. Ford versus Ferrari, 4.5 for me. Ad Astra, 4.5. Fighting with My Family, 4.5.
I don't know. I think I got Uncut Gems. I don't know. I'm looking at these like I can't see any of these moving up to a 5-star. If anything, Uncut Gems and Jojo Rabbit maybe. But
yeah,
I doubt it. Like I said, Irishman actually moved down to a 4.5 when I thought about it some more.
It's a 4 for me.
Which, like I said, it might have been a 4 if I hadn't seen it in theaters. Like that was a big part. Like seeing like those, like 3 giant actors in cinema with Martin Scorsese like on the big screen.
I think you might be a bigger Scorsese fan than I am too. And that's something I'm actually like really loving. When I watch a bunch of filmmakers' films, which I want to continue doing, is watching a bunch of their filmography, is kind of seeing what films resonate more with me and what filmmakers really speak to me and like what really is my vibe. Because like as of right now, like a lot of the filmmakers that really Tarantino, my favorite filmmaker. I really like Paul Thomas Anderson, his movies. Those resonate with me. Coen Brothers, like those are probably my 3 big ones there. But Scorsese, like I mean, most of his films are good, but I've rewatched a bunch recently, and like Goodfellas, you have it at a 5, right?
I haven't seen it in years though.
A lot of people have it at 5s. A lot of people love this movie. I have it at a 4. It's good. It's really good. But part of that's from the performances from Pesci and De Niro in that film. That's kind of what moves up from a 3.5 to a 4. I don't know. And like The Irishman I gave it a 4.5 right now too. But it's like I didn't walk away from most of his films just blown away. Like Wolf of Wall Street, I liked more when it came out, when I saw it in theaters. Rewatched it this year. It just like I don't know. Like it was really good. And gave it. Most of his movies are 3.5 or a 4 for me.
Yeah, his highest rated are Goodfellas and Gangs of New York.
Gangs of New York is the highest rated film that I have of his.
Both of those for me probably be 4.5 one day, honestly.
You already moved to Gangs, New York, yeah, didn't you? Yeah.
Did I?
I thought you moved it to a 4.5. You said the last time you watched?
No, I think it's still a 5 right now.
Okay.
Like that was the thing. I didn't. It could be a 4.5 if I keep watching it. I've got Wolf of Wall Street and The Irishman at 4.5s. A couple of his movies at 4s. I like Raging Bull more than you do. You like Casino more than I do, though.
I've never finished Raging Bull.
Oh yeah, we forgot to switch movies.
Yep.
Forgot to bring it there.
I definitely liked Casino a lot more than most people.
Yeah, you like King of Comedy more than I did. Yeah, I don't know. Some of the movies.
What do I have? I have The Departed at a 4.
Yes, I think so.
Like that was another film where I have it at a 4. It could move down to a 3.5 one day. Like
you're in the minority about that being a unsatisfying ending too.
The Departed?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate the ending of The Departed.
I love it. You don't like Uncut Gems though either.
I do not. No.
Just sudden deaths will people.
The more I watch, the more I get pissed that Leo dies in the end of this movie. Yes. No.
Are you mad that he died or who killed him? Because it wasn't Matt Damon.
Both.
Oh.
Well, that's the fact too, is that Matt Damon lives, and I could despise his character in this film until the end, until Mark Wahlberg kills him. Yeah. But he lives when everyone else dies, and then obviously Mark Wahlberg. And I didn't like either one of those characters really, so I'm just like, whatever. I don't know. Like,
what do I hear?
Taxi Driver would be higher if it wasn't for him taking, I don't know, the weird creepiness of some of the scenes in the movie. But I like actually Taxi Driver better than Goodfellas, or The Irishman or The Departed. But I don't know. Like, I have 5 stars for Gangs of New York, and then The Aviator and Shutter Island are both 4.5. Shutter Island will probably move down to a 4 one day.
I have it at a 4 right now.
Some films I rewatched and I'm like, I still give it a high rating, but then I'm like, I know next time it'll probably move down. But for right now, I'm still going to hang on with that. The Aviator will only move up, but I don't think it'll ever get a 5. It'll probably stay at a 4.5, but I do love The Aviator. It's a really a movie I feel like a lot of people are missing out. It's long, I know, sure. It's 170 minutes. Not that long. It's under 3 hours.
I remember that time you say something about a movie being over 2 hours.
Robert Richardson does the cinematography, I believe, on this as well. Who works with Tarantino a lot. Yeah, he does. And his cinematography in this film is amazing. Like, during the time periods that take place, he looks back at those time periods and tries to match the cinematography of what it would look like then. In terms of like the color palette and everything, I love it. And it's another film that takes you behind the scenes of the movies and stuff, so I like that a lot.
Yeah. That was with Gangs of New York like that. I gave it a 5, but it's probably really a 4.5 to me.
And don't get me wrong, he's an incredible filmmaker. It's just, I don't know. He's not one of my personal favorites. Just like Spielberg's not either. Like,
favorites.
What's that?
I wouldn't say he's one of my personal favorites.
Spielberg is another one, and this is a topic for another time, because we are getting up here. What's that?
Washed up filmmakers.
Yeah, Spielberg, like I said, his last good movie, really good movie, great, was Catch Me If You Can, 2002. He's made other movies since then that I've liked, enjoyed, but nothing to. I feel like if you had retired, it would have been better for your legacy. I did not like Ready Player One. You're a fan of that.
That's another thing. Like, that's a movie that I love more than actually how good it is.
Okay.
I have it at a 4.5. Now, if I was going to rate it, 3.5 probably.
I have it at 2.5.
That's like how good it is. I'd probably say 3.5. I love Lincoln.
Lincoln, I have at a 3.5.
I have that at 4.5.
It's good,
and I'm sure part of that's my favorite actors in it.
Yeah.
Which you never wanted. You said Liam Neeson. But before that, yeah, like besides Lincoln, yeah, his good movie was Catch Me If You Can. So you got a 10-year swing in there where you didn't make anything I care about at all. I haven't seen The Terminal.
I've heard Terminal's bad.
I haven't seen The Terminal or Adventures of Tintin. Other than that, I've seen his movies. That part of his career is not for me.
And it's like a couple other ones that he's made where I like them, but I don't think they were anything special. And that's what I'm saying is like Bridge of Spies. I liked it.
You like it more than I did, I think.
And The Post. No. I liked it.
Post sucks.
I don't think it sucks. I have it at 3.5. I think.
I don't know how you have that at 3.5, but Spotlight at like a 3.
Spotlight might move up for rewatch it to a well. I don't know. I liked Tom Hanks in The Post, but I don't know. I need to rewatch Spotlight. The Post came out 2 years after Spotlight, so
yeah. But like other than that, I mean, he started out really strong as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
But
let's also not forget Warhorse. I want to touch about that real quick. 2011. He made that right before he made Lincoln.
You're welcome.
God. I just remember you calling.
We were so excited.
Oh, I got the screener.
Yes, I'll come over right now.
Drive over there. You want to play the Wii or something?
I'm tired.
My mom said I have to go home.
Yeah, I'm looking at like Paul Thomas Anderson. Dude's been nominated for 8 Oscars, hasn't won anything.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
He does have a new movie coming out next year, though.
Yes. What is it?
Untitled right now. Set in the 1970s San Fernando Valley, film follows a high school student who is also a successful child actor.
Oh, man.
Yep.
California 70s, Paul Thomas Anderson.
I want to know if it's going to be a guy or a girl, though, for the main character.
Don't care. Either way.
Because I'm trying to think, like, who you got high school students, like, who he would cast, maybe. I don't know.
Turns out this is a prequel to Magnolia.
Oh, is it TJ Mackey? Please.
I'm just kidding. It's not really, but.
I know, but I wish it was. Yeah, I don't know. Trying to look up. That's another one. Like I say, I mean, obviously some people like him more than others, but I think he's a really underrated director.
Paul Thomas Anderson?
Yeah. Like
probably my second favorite director.
Given his incredible filmography,
but I don't know. He might not. Coen Brothers might be my say. I don't know. I need to rewatch his movies before I make that decision. Because I've only rewatched 2, but they were both 5 stars. So Inherent Vice, like I'm gonna push through that when I watch it eventually. I don't know. I've tried to watch it twice and like I couldn't get into it, and that seems like something I would like. It's like I'm pretty sure it's in California. It's the 70s. Yeah, it's LA, 1970.
Well, and see, that's another thing. I think that like Jackie Brown, I think that's his only unoriginal project.
Yeah, because this was based off a book.
Yeah. So like I say, it may have his a good direction, but it's probably not the same feel.
All right. Do you have anything else over these years before I wrap up this video?
Nope. Sorry, there's no older movies.
Yeah. Maybe one day. All right, guys. That's our best years in cinema on the rocks here. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And tomorrow we have a new episode of Freeport, so don't forget to check it out.